He looks the same. That's the part I can't get past. Same corner table, same newspaper, same 20% tip in cash. Same man who manages $8.2 billion pretending to be someone who thinks about the price of olive oil. I know who he is now, and he has no idea that I know. Tuesday morning, 6:41 a.m. I'm behind the counter, apron tied, hair up. Sarah is restocking the pastry case and humming something that might be Taylor Swift or might be her own creation. Janet hasn't arrived yet. Everything is the same. Everything is different. I look at his corner table. Empty. Chair pulled out slightly from where he left it last week. Not last week. Last week was the night I asked if he was dangerous, and he said, "Not to you," and I drove home wondering what I was going to do about that. Sunday, Maya found the photo. Sunday, the room turned on its lights. And now it's Tuesday, and he'll walk through that door in approximately 4 minutes because Ethan Cross arrives at Grind Coffee between 6:43 and 6:47 a.m. I've been tracking the window for weeks. He's never outside it. A man who controls $8.2 billion in strategic acquisitions keeps the same coffee schedule as a retired librarian. I start making his coffee. Black, no sugar. The most basic order in the history of coffee. $4, 20% tip every time, 80 cents on a $4 coffee. He could buy this entire building and tip the neighborhood. I pour the coffee and set it on the counter in the spot where his hand will land. Same place as every morning. We have a routine, and routines are the costume he wears to look like everyone else. 6:44 a.m. The door opens. Ethan Cross walks into Grind Coffee wearing a dark sweater and jeans, newspaper under his arm, Financial Times Today, not the Journal. He switches on alternating days. He looks at me. That look. I've been cataloging that look for 9 weeks. The way his attention narrows. How the rest of the room stops existing when he focuses on me. Except, he scanned the room before I noticed. 3 steps from the door. Quick sweep, exits, windows, corners, other customers. Then me. I've never caught the scan before because I wasn't looking for it. Now I see it because I know what $8.2 billion needs to protect. Good morning, Sudan. Good morning. I slide his coffee across the counter. Thank you, Aria. My name, the way he says it. Aria. 3 syllables, emphasis on the first, the same way he's said it since the day he introduced himself 3 months ago. The same way a man who has managed over $14 billion in strategic transactions says the name of a barista who makes $38,000 a year. Except now I hear the weight behind it. When he says my name, he's choosing it. The way he chooses everything. Deliberately. With full information and complete awareness of what the choice costs. He takes his coffee to the corner table, sits, back to wall, newspaper, open. I watch him the way I've been watching him for weeks, except now the details don't create questions. They answer them. The 2 men arrive at 6:47, gray jacket, chamomile tea, table 4 by the door, navy pullover, green tea, table 9. Back to wall. I know what they are now. Professional protective detail, $250,000 a year. They've been here every morning for weeks, ordering tea they never drink, watching exits while a man worth $500 million reads about commodities futures. I pour their tea. Chamomile, I say to Gray Jacket. He nods, doesn't make eye contact, doesn't need to. He knows I know. After Saturday's confrontation, the pretending stopped for at least that part of the performance, but the tea order stays the same. The geometry stays the same. Some things don't change just because you see them clearly. I go back behind the counter and watch Ethan read. His newspaper is open to the commodities page. He reads with the focus of someone who is reading for intelligence, not entertainment. Because he is. The man at the corner table isn't browsing. Every morning at Grind Coffee, between 6:43 and 9:30 a.m., Ethan Cross is working. The newspaper is market information. The coffee shop is a venue his security team has cleared. The phone face down on the table connects to Patricia Chang and Charles Morrison and Michael Ashford and a world that moves 8.2 billion across continents. I just didn't see it. The watch on his wrist, white gold, $8,000. He turns a page and the watch catches light from the window. I used to think that watch was an inconsistency, a clue that didn't fit the consultant persona. It's not an inconsistency. It's the one thing he didn't bother to hide. Because hiding a watch would mean being aware of it. And Ethan Cross wears an $8,000 watch the way I wear a hair tie. It's not a statement. It's not even a choice. It's just there. That's wealth. Not the kind you perform. The kind that's so deep it becomes invisible to the person carrying it. The morning rush happens the way it always happens. Orders, steaming, names on cups. The espresso machine screams at 7:03 and Sarah fixes it by hitting the side panel with her palm, which has been the repair protocol since February. Karen arrives at 7:12. New oat milk, new label. This one has a daisy sticker next to her cursive name. She sets it on the counter with the careful placement of someone making a statement nobody asked for. I move through the morning on autopilot, double shot for the woman who always says, strong today, like it's a personality trait. Chai latte for the man in the cycling jersey, who tips in exact change. 3 drip coffees for the construction crew from the renovation project on 34th. They've been coming in all week, leave sawdust on the counter. Every order, every customer, every transaction, normal. And 30 feet away, the founder and managing partner of an $8.2 billion fund is reading about grain futures. Sarah bumps my hip while I'm making a latte. You're staring. I'm not staring. You're staring at Mr. Corner Table like he's a crossword puzzle with one clue left. I'm fine. You have that face. What face? The face you make when you know something you wish you didn't. Sarah is smarter than anyone gives her credit for. Her latte art looks like abstract trauma, but she reads people better than anyone I know. Better than Maya, who has databases. Better than Dev, who has logic. Sarah just looks at you and knows. I'm fine. I say again. She gives me a look that says she doesn't believe me, but will leave it alone. For now. At 8:17, I make myself an oat milk with vanilla, my usual, the one he memorized from watching me on his second week here, before he ever said my name. Information is how he moves through everything. Dev's words from Sunday, true about the Bloomberg interview, true about the coffee order, true about all of it. I carry 2 cups to his table, mine and a refill for him. He looks up. Join me? For a minute, I sit across from him, the chair nobody sits in because he always sits with his back to the wall. He folds his newspaper, puts it aside, full attention. Transfer, phone, face down on the table. This is what $8.2 billion looks like in a coffee shop. It looks exactly like Ethan Cross on a Tuesday. How are you? He asks. I'm okay. How are you? Better now. He says it simply. No weight, no performance, just a fact. He's better now because I'm sitting across from him. And the thing is, I believe him. I believe him because I've seen the 5 seconds in the car with his eyes closed. The tired man underneath both masks. He doesn't need to perform better now. That makes the next part harder. Sarah told me something, I say, about the Italian place in Ballard, Vento. His thumb stops moving on the side of his coffee cup. What about it? She heard the restaurant group that owns it is doing renovations, expanding the wine cellar or something. She wanted to know if we should go before they close for construction. His face doesn't change. That's the tell. His face should change. A normal person hearing about a restaurant they like would react. An eyebrow, a comment. That place has great gnocchi. Something. Ethan Cross, who owns the restaurant group that owns Vento through Cross Capital's portfolio of strategic acquisitions, says nothing. His face does nothing, and that perfect absence of reaction is the most revealing thing he's done in 2 months. Good restaurant, he says. It is. I looked up the restaurant group. They have some interesting investors. He picks up his coffee. Sips. I wouldn't know about that. 3 words. I wouldn't know. The founder and managing partner of Cross Capital, which owns the restaurant group that owns Vento, the restaurant where wine appeared without him ordering, and the valet called him Mr. Cross, and the waiter greeted him by name, says he wouldn't know about the investors. That's a lie. Not an omission. Not a misdirection. Not a forehead kiss to close a question. A lie. Small. Reflexive. The kind that happens when protecting the cover is so automatic it overrides the promise he made on a Saturday night to tell me the truth. I look at his face. He's looking at his newspaper. For the first time in 9 weeks, I catch him lying to me in real time. Not in retrospect. Not from the car on 45th Street. Not from a bathroom stall checking wine prices. Right now, across from me. While I hold my coffee and he holds his, it doesn't hurt the way I expected. It just clarifies. He's different today, not dramatically, not the way he was different after the phone call at Alki Beach. More like recalibrated. His shoulders are doing the thing where they look relaxed, but the muscles underneath are holding something. He's thinking about Thursday. I can see it. The planning behind his eyes. He promised to show me, to do it the right way, and he's sitting across from me running calculations about how to dismantle 2 months of constructed normalcy without losing what we built inside it. His coffee is half finished. He's been turning the cup in slow quarter rotations, the same precise gesture he used with the wine glass at Osteria Orso, a habit, years of conference rooms and negotiation tables where your hands need something to do while your mind runs the real numbers. A man who controls $8.2 billion fidgets with a $4 coffee. I notice something else. His phone. Face down, as always. But the corner of the screen is visible, and in the 14 minutes since we sat down, it has vibrated at least 6 times. Short pulses. A messaging thread that never sleeps. He hasn't looked at it once. Before, I would have found this romantic. The full attention, the commitment to being present. Now I see it differently. He's ignoring a communication stream that connects him to decisions affecting thousands of people. Deals. Acquisitions. Henderson and whatever the terms are that aren't negotiable. All of it piling up in his notifications while he sits in a coffee shop asking about my morning. The discipline required to do that isn't romantic. It's terrifying. You seem distracted, I say. Do I? A little. He looks at me. The real look, not the performance. I'm thinking about Thursday. Me too. We look at each other. 2 people who know different things, pretending to be the same people who sat here last week. Except, I know what he knows, and he doesn't know that I know. Aria. Yeah? Thursday is going to be... He pauses, picks a word, discards it, picks another. A lot. I know. He tilts his head slightly. You say that like you mean it. Because I do. But I don't say that. I take a sip of my coffee and let the silence do the work. The way he taught me. Observation, not asking. Watching, not pushing. I learned this from him. I learned it from a man who learned my coffee order by watching me from a corner table. Who brought a blanket to the beach because I crossed my arms 3 days earlier, who reads people the way he reads balance sheets. The irony is not lost on me. He takes a sip, puts the cup down, his eyes drift to the window. The morning is gray and wet, Seattle doing what Seattle does in October. People walk past with umbrellas and purpose. A delivery truck double parks across the street. Normal world. The world where $8.2 billion sits in a corner booth and nobody knows. Where a man worth more than some neighborhoods owns the chair he's sitting in, the building it's in, and probably the mortgage on the delivery truck across the street if you follow the financial threads far enough. He looks back at me and smiles. The soft one. The one that reaches his eyes. And for 1 second, just one, I see him the way I saw him 3 months ago. A man who tips well, who reads newspapers, who said my name like it meant something. Then the second passes, and I see the rest. His phone buzzes, face down on the table. The vibration barely moves it. He ignores it. It buzzes again. He glances down. Doesn't pick it up. Third time, 3 buzzes in 90 seconds. The same urgency as the night at his apartment when Patricia Cheng's name lit up the screen twice in 5 minutes. The tendon along his jaw pulls tight. "I'm sorry," he says. "I should take this." "Of course." He picks up the phone, looks at the screen. His eyes change. A door closing, another opening. Then he stands, touches my shoulder briefly, and walks toward the front of the shop. 6 steps away, then 7, then 8. He stops near the window display, between the wooden shelf of local honey jars and the community bulletin board covered in yoga class flyers and lost cat posters. He answers. His voice changes. Not gradually. Between one breath and the next, the boyfriend was gone. The way it changed at Alki Beach, shoulders back, chin level, the authority posture. "I need the Henderson brief on my desk by 2, he says. The full analysis, not the summary. Henderson, he's pacing, 2 steps left, 2 steps right. His free hand cutting shapes in the air. The decisive gestures I've only seen through car windows and lattice partitions. And tell Ashford that Cross Capital's position hasn't changed. Cross Capital's position. He said it. The way someone says the name of their company when they've said it 10,000 times. Automatic. The verbal equivalent of muscle memory. Cross Capital. His company. His fund. His 8.2 billion. Spoken out loud, 30 feet from me in the coffee shop where he's been pretending to be a consultant for 3 months. He turns. Our eyes meet across the room. The morning rush has thinned. The shop is quiet enough that his voice carried across the open space, past the espresso machine, past Sarah wiping down the counter, past the table where Navy Pullover is not drinking his green tea. And the thing I see on his face is not surprise. It's not the controlled mask, or the warm boyfriend, or the authority posture. It's recognition, not the kind where you see someone you know, the kind where you see someone seeing you, the kind that happens when the performance you've been maintaining for 9 weeks collapses in the space between Cross Capital and the look in your girlfriend's eyes. He knows I heard. I know he knows. He says something brief into the phone. Ends the call without saying goodbye, doesn't break eye contact. 10 seconds pass. I count them the way I count everything about him now. The milk steamer hisses. Someone opens the front door and Wind lifts a yoga flyer off the bulletin board. Sarah puts down her cloth. He walks back to the table, sits down, puts his phone face down. Neither of us speaks. "We should talk," he says. "About what?" He looks at me, really looks at me. The mask isn't on. The authority is gone. The careful boyfriend is gone. What's left is the man from the car with his eyes closed, tired, real. "About what you just heard." "Cross Capital." He nods. "That's not a consulting firm," I say. "No. That's your company." Long pause. "Yes." One word, no deflection, no forehead kiss. No redirect about my week or the weather or whether the pastry case survived. Just, yes. "Can we go somewhere?" he says. "This isn't a conversation for here." I look at the counter. Sarah is watching us with the expression of someone who is going to have questions. Navy Pullover is watching us. Gray Jacket is watching the door. This is the coffee shop where we met, where he tipped 20% exact and said my name correctly on the first try and asked me to lunch at a Vietnamese restaurant on 36th. This isn't the place for what comes next. Okay, I say. I tell Sarah I'm taking a break. She looks at me. I nod. She doesn't say anything. She'll say plenty later. The BMW is in the lot. He opens my door, waits until I'm in, closes it, walks around to his side. The same careful choreography as every time. Except now I notice the car in the next row. The one with a man in the driver's seat who adjusts his mirror when Ethan starts the engine. Security. Following us. Right. He starts the engine. The playlist loads automatically, something quiet with piano, Debussy, I think, not Reverie, something I don't know. He doesn't turn it up. The car smells like leather and the cedar from the wool blanket he keeps folded in the back seat, the blanket he brought to Alki because I crossed my arms 3 days before that lunch. I used to find that charming. Now I find it precise. I was going to tell you Thursday, he says, not looking at me, looking at the parking lot. I had a whole plan. I know. Patricia helped me. We spent 3 hours on it. 3 hours. With a senior executive at an $8.2 billion fund, planning a conversation with his girlfriend. He turns to face me, and the expression on his face is the one from the sidewalk outside my apartment. The night I called him down to an uncontrolled space and saw relief before the mask came back. But deeper now. Cracked open. Aria, how much do you already know? The question fills the car. His hands are on the steering wheel. Steady. But the knuckles have gone white at the ridges. I could lie. I could say, just the name, and let him do the reveal his way. The right way? The version with context and presentation and careful framing that he's been rehearsing since Saturday. Or I could do what Dev told me. Don't let him manage this one too. I look at him. Same man who sat at a corner table for 3 weeks, learning my coffee order by watching, not asking. Who brought a blanket to the beach because I crossed my arms 3 days earlier. Who said, when you're ready to ask, I'll answer. Like the word weighed something he couldn't put down. I fell for someone who doesn't exist. But the person who does exist is falling for me too. I can see it. In the white knuckles on the steering wheel. In the way his jaw isn't doing the micro movement because there's no mask left to hold in place. In the relief that flooded his face when I didn't look away after he said cross capital 30 feet from me in a coffee shop. He's scared. That makes 2 of us. Drive, I say. Where? Wherever you were going to take me Thursday. He searches my face, looking for something. Permission maybe, or forgiveness, or the thing he's been most afraid of. That the truth would make me leave. I hold his gaze. Behind us, the car with the man in the driver's seat is waiting. Security. Probably texting someone. Probably reporting that Ethan Cross and the girlfriend are in the BMW, headed somewhere unscheduled. Good. Let them report it. He puts the car in reverse, signals, checks mirrors, pulls out of the lot with the same controlled precision as everything he does. And as we turn onto the street, I watch him drive. The hands on the steering wheel, the jaw, the focused attention that makes the rest of the world disappear until there's only what's directly in front of him. For 9 weeks, I was what was directly in front of him. Now I'm about to see everything behind him. The city passes outside the windows, Fremont giving way to downtown. Coffee shops and bookstores and neighborhoods where people live normal lives. I put my phone face down on my thigh. The way he does. The way I do now. I don't know who I am in his world. I don't know who I'm supposed to be. But I'm about to find out.